Okay, everybody, I'm going to kick off the session and welcome everybody to another Webinar Wednesday session here at Sight and Sound Technology. We're absolutely delighted with the numbers that we're getting for these sessions, and clearly it's filling a gap. So thank you for making time for us in what are very strange weeks. And we do hope wherever you're joining us today that you're safe and well. My name is Stuart Lawler. I'm the host for today's session, and as you can tell, I'm not from the UK, I'm from Ireland, and I look after operations for Sight and Sound Technology here in Ireland. So I'm in Dublin, and in true online style and maintaining social distancing, our colleague Sam Coulson is in Leeds, and Sam is an account manager with Sight and Sound for North England and Scotland. We're really glad to have Sam here today, actually, because we're going to be talking a lot about low vision today and reading support. So we're going to be talking about the Compaq HD and the C-PEN reader. Two really useful pieces of technology in all sorts of scenarios, as you will see. Just before we hand over to Sam, just a couple of housekeeping rules. We have a very big meeting today. There's 67 people in the room right now. So I have muted everyone's audio, and I'd ask you please to keep your audio muted. If you accidentally unmute yourself, I will mute you while Sam is speaking. And then we will be pausing during the presentation, or Sam will pause, I'm sure, for questions. If you want to ask a question, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can raise your hand. If on the computer, on the PC version of Zoom, you can press Alt and Y, or you can tap the raise your hand button. And if you're using a mobile phone, there's a button to raise your hand. You can also type in the chat window, and to do that, you press Alt and H for chat. And you can also just wait until the questions time, and you can unmute yourself, or we will unmute you if you'd like to ask a question. We're looking forward to a very engaging session today. And I'm going to unmute Sam and hand over and welcome Sam to the session. And we're all looking forward to hearing all about low vision and reading solutions that can be of aid to people with disabilities. So Sam, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you, Stuart. Hi everyone. As Stuart said, my name's Sam, and I'm the account manager for the north of England and Scotland at Sight and Sound Technology. It's a real pleasure to be here with you all to demonstrate some of our low vision solutions today. One thing I have to correct Stuart on, though, is that I'm actually based in Hull, not Leeds. I've got to fly the flag for Hull today. So yeah, this is where I am in the world, and it's great to see so many people here today, 73 and counting.
Sam, may I just interrupt you and say very sorry for my bad UK geography. Clearly geography wasn't my good subject over here in school, so my apologies.
Well, you got the county right. You got the county. Okay. I'm in East Yorkshire, just that's west. No, but it's great to see so many people from all different parts of the world. So you're very welcome. Thank you for being here. And as Stuart said, if you do have any questions, there will be moments, obvious moments to voice them. But if not, pop them in the chat box or raise your hand, and we can get to you as soon as we can. Perfect. Great. So as Stuart said as well, we're going to be looking at two solutions today. Okay, we've got the C-PEN ReaderPen, which is this tiny little device here. Okay, now this is a digital pen which scans text. It reads it out loud to you, but it can also transfer it to a computer as well. Okay, many people think that this device is mainly focused towards those with learning difficulties, dyslexia, literacy difficulties, comprehension, that sort of thing. But we believe it's a very useful solution for the visually impaired as well. It's a very quick and accessible text-to-speech device. So it's as I say, it's great for the visually impaired in that sense. It's very, very quick and accessible. So that's the first product we're going to be looking at today, and some of its features. And then secondly, we're going to be looking at at the Compaq 10 HD. This is by Optilec. Okay, this is another text-to-speech device, but it also has magnification features and speech features as well. So we're going to be touching on both of those features in the second part of the demonstration. Excellent. Okay, so let's get started. So first up, we've got the ReaderPen by C-PEN. Now the C-PEN is part of a range of products. Now I'm just going to get my presentation notes up there. There we go, perfect. Yeah, so the ReaderPen, as I said, it's part of a range of products, a range of pens, digital pens that C-PEN provide. Some of the other products include the dictionary pen and the TS1, which is a digital highlighter. But for the purposes of today's demonstration, we're going to focus on the ReaderPen. The reason for that is that the ReaderPen sort of incorporates many of the features from the other pens into one solution, which makes it a really useful multi-purpose solution. Okay, great. So the areas that we're going to focus on with the ReaderPen, we're going to be obviously looking at the controls, the settings, the basic interface of the pen. We're going to be looking at the text reader feature, and also how to scan the text obviously into the pen. We're going to be looking at the scan to file feature, which this feature allows you to obviously create a text document and then transfer it to a computer. We're also going to be looking at the keyboard functionality as well. So the ReaderPen can actually be used as an alternative to your computer keyboard. So you can plug this into your computer or your laptop. You can scan the text, and the text will then appear in any text field on your computer, whether that's a Word document, a web browser, you know, any text field you can think of. You could use the ReaderPen as a keyboard rather than typing. And then finally, we're going to quickly look at the dictionary feature as well, a really useful, very quick and accessible way of finding definitions to words that obviously, you know, many students may find that feature useful. Excellent, great. So first things first, we're going to start with the controls and the settings. I just want to make sure that this is, where am I? There we go. I'm going to pin me. There we go. Perfect. Great. Okay. So here we are. This is the ReaderPen here. Now it's very, very straightforward. There's not many controls to the ReaderPen, but we will go through them all now. So obviously on the front panel of the pen here, okay, we've got the screen here, the digital screen. This obviously displays the text and all the settings menus. We've got a menu button here, which obviously brings you up a specific context menu for whatever application that you're in. We've got the on and off button there. That also doubles up as a back button as well. And then we've got a four-way navigation wheel just here. Okay, so that's obviously up, down, left and right. And then the center there is that's an OK button. Okay, so that allows you to enter applications and do a number of other things. Now just navigating towards the bottom of the pen here. Now, don't know if you can see, it's very detailed here. We've got a small plastic nib just on the end there, and that can actually be pushed in. So that effectively is the trigger for the digital pen to capture the text. Okay, so you've got the trigger on the end of the pen there, and then this little plastic window here. This is called the text window. Okay, so the idea is that we obviously identify the text that we want, and we make sure that it's lined up between the 2 points here. And then the plastic nib there, once triggered, will obviously capture the text. Okay, and then finally, just at the other end there, we've got 2 ports here. We've got a headphone port there. Obviously, you know, if this is going to be used in the classroom, in lectures, or at work, for instance, you might want some discretion there. So you can use the headphones. And then we've got the charging port at the back. And And actually, sorry, I just missed these couple of areas here. We've got the microphone and the speaker there on the top there. So obviously, without the headphones there, the audio will be, output will come from the speaker, which is just at the top here. Excellent. So that is the interface. It's very, very straightforward. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn on the C-PEN and hold down the button here. Hopefully you can all see this. There we go. It just takes a few seconds just to warm up. And then it'll start talking to us. Now the audio, she's already talking to us. The audio, I do apologise if it's not brilliant. Obviously it's fairly quiet. So if you can't hear it clearly enough, I do apologise. There's not really any other way around it at the moment, but we'll do our best. Great. So as you can see, you've got the settings menu has just appeared on the screen there, and the first feature on the ReaderPen there is the text reader. Okay, that's what we're going to look at first. Okay, so I'm just going to press the OK button. Now that's taken me into the text reader application. Okay. Now for those that can see this, there is a flashing cursor on the screen there. Obviously, once I start scanning the text, it will input it straight into the text field there. Okay, so I just turn this page for a second. Great. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to look at how we scan the text into the text field. Okay, again, it's fairly straightforward. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to navigate my camera down a little. Okay. Great. Okay. So, we're encouraged with the ReaderPen to hold it as vertically as possible. Okay, that's in order to ensure that the nib of the digital pen is triggered, is pressed in, and for those obviously with a visual impairment, you know, it will be slightly trickier. But there is, I don't know if you can see this, but if I just press the, now you're not going to be able to see that probably because of the lighting. But as I push the nib down there, there is a light which does appear at the bottom of the ReaderPen. Okay. Now all I need to do now is once I've pushed the pen down, I can just slide it horizontally across the text. And I'm just going to move that up to the top. Great. I don't know if you heard that. I'll play it one more time. Okay, so that's read it back through. That says, congratulations to your new ReaderPen. Okay. Now, we've got a few options with the text reader application. You can set the ReaderPen to read it automatically. So as I scan the text with the pen and then I release the nib, it will read it back to me immediately. Or as I have it set at the moment, it will only read it to me until it is manually triggered. So once I've finished scanning the text, I press the OK button in the center here and it will read it aloud for me. But if I just go into the settings menu and I go to the auto read on, okay, we'll just try it again. Okay. Now I imagine that again the sound quality is not great there, but I can show you it's very clear, very sort of articulate, and you can hear that, you know, obviously in person very easily. So that was the auto read setting that I changed there. So I finished scanning the text, lifted the nib, and it's reading it back to me straight away. And that, you know, in effect, is how the text reader application works. It's perfect for those students, you know, if you have textbooks in front of you in a lecture or a class, you know, that if you have issues with comprehension, for instance, absorbing text off the page, this may be really useful to scan the text there and have it read to you aloud. I actually am dyslexic myself, and I certainly struggle with absorbing text, and having listening to, you know, audio, I do find much more beneficial. I find it easier to absorb and understand the text. Now, quickly, just while we're still on this feature, whilst we're in the text reader there, if I hit the menu button, so what it said there is it's press OK to select or press down for other options. So we have a menu-specific options now, feature-specific options for this, for the text reader application. So we've got the clear screen here. So if you finish with the text that you've just scanned, it clears that straight off and you can start again. What you can also do is you can adjust the speed of the audio. The speech feedback there, you can adjust the speed, you can adjust the volume. You can also adjust word and punctuation pause, which is really useful as well. So why don't we just try that? So if I actually put it up to 5, right. ReaderPen is designed with the purpose of being a reading assistant. Okay, now you may not have heard that, but if we just go back to the beginning. ReaderPen is designed with the purpose of being a reading assistant, and the objective is to make you an independent reader. Okay, now there wasn't much punctuation in that sentence, so it's probably not a great example, but there was a comma, and what it did there was it actually paused at the comma there. Okay, so it paused at the punctuation and then carried on reading. So you can adjust the settings. You know, you don't have to have those features active, so it would just carry on straight through that. But they're useful features to customize depending on what your needs are. So those are some of the feature-specific settings there. The other useful one, we're going to touch on the dictionary later. But what you can do is you can quickly access the dictionary via the menu there. If you highlight a specific word, so we'll do that now. Okay. So we've got congratulations there, which is highlighted. Okay, now if I just hold my finger on the OK button, it actually zooms in on the word and it reads it out loud. And then if I release my finger, it goes back to the text field there. But what I can also do now is if I go menu and definition. Would you believe there's no definition available for congratulations? Let me just, that's because I've got the wrong dictionary. There we go, perfect. Now if I just go back to I had the wrong dictionary selected there. I've selected Collins Dictionary now. If I press OK. Congratulations. Congratulations. Substitute expressions of pleasure or joy. So what it's doing there, it's giving me the origin of the word, and then it's going on to give me a number of definitions for the word congratulations. So you can actually access the dictionary and highlight specific words within the text reader application, and you can have the definition read out loud to you very quickly, very accessible. Excellent. So, we can actually move on now to the next feature. So what we can do is, just bear with me a second. Text reader. Yeah, excellent. So I'm going to move my camera back. There we go.
Sam, we have a few questions on chat. I don't know if you want to take those or do you want to go on and I can go through those afterwards.
It feels like a good place to have a brief pause. Yep.
Okay. There's somebody has unmuted themselves there. Did you want to ask a question? I'm just going to mute. Somebody has unmuted themselves there, so I'm just going to mute that person just one moment. And then we'll go through the questions.
Yep.
Sorry, Sam, I'll have to unmute you again. Okay, and just to say that if anybody wants to be kept up to date on any Webinar Wednesday sessions, then please type your email address in the chat window. Okay, so Sam, there was a few questions.
Yep.
So can you show how you would scan the whole page? I think you actually may have done that since that question came in.
Yeah, we can look at that. Let me have a look. Yeah, so let me just get rid of this. Clear screen. Yeah, so I've got a brief section of text here, and it's very, very straightforward. So as I say, we just keep the nib position there, and each time I get to the end of the line there, I release the nib. It adds the text to the reader pen, and then I carry on, and it will keep adding the text. I won't do the full page, I'll just do the end of this paragraph. There we go. Now, all of the text is, and then I can navigate around the text with the four-way navigation button there, you see. So I can navigate by word, by line, and I can navigate all the way back up to the top of the paragraph there. If I press OK, it will then read the full paragraph out loud for me. And as I say, you can find definitions, specific definitions by the menu there. But yeah, it's very, very straightforward. Just simply, it captures line by line, and then it will continue adding the text to the text field by each line that you highlight or you scan there. Hope that's helpful.
Okay. Yep. Another question says, has a visually impaired person tried this and provided feedback?
Very good question. We, as a company, we have been providing products similar to this for many years. There's another product called the Live Scribe Pen, which many of you may have heard of, which we know works for visually impaired people. The C-Pen, as far as I'm aware, is used widely by those with a visual impairment. But obviously, at the same time, we are aware that it's, it does require you to be able to identify, where the text is on the page. So for that reason, it may not be ideal. It all very much depends on your eye condition and what you can and can't see.
Okay. Can the volume be increased for those with hearing loss?
So, as I said earlier, the volume is, I suppose, it is restricted to a certain degree. This is at full maximum volume for me here. But what you can do is, obviously, you can add the headphones there and have the headphones to give it a bit of extra support there. But yeah, the sound quality there, it's not incredibly loud, so you may need the headphones.
Okay. Can the pen come in contrasting colors?
Not the reader pen. The C-PEN, the company who make this, do have other digital pens that do have contrasting colors. I believe the dictionary pen is an orange, a very high contrast, bright orange color. But the C-PEN is just the white, and it comes in this very nifty little case, which you can carry around with you, a protective case. I saw somebody looked at the packaging there as well. This is the packaging there. Comes with headphones, comes with a USB connection cable, and it comes with the useful case there as well.
Okay, two more questions coming in on chat at the moment. Does it connect? Can it connect to Bluetooth? Can it be paired to Bluetooth for those with hearing aids? And can it recognize handwriting?
Two good questions, which were the first that I wanted to find out myself, actually. Unfortunately, the ReaderPen doesn't have Bluetooth connectivity. Again, some of the other more advanced reader pens I know do have that feature. The reader pen, this one doesn't. Okay, it's just got the USB port for the headphones at the back there. For the headphones, it would be useful actually to be able to connect Bluetooth headphones. It doesn't, and also as many other text-to-speech devices, unfortunately at the moment,
I can hear it now. Yeah.
Cannot recognise handwriting.
You're up there.
I've got an old eye.
Start video.
I think someone's just unmuted them. Yeah. Okay.
No,
So I think.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So it's just printed text, printed and yeah. No handwriting at the moment, unfortunately.
Okay.
That's down the line, I'm sure.
Okay, and Jason is saying I can recognize neat handwriting. It can recognize neat handwriting on black black text on white paper. Yeah,
that's a useful point actually. If you are able to have your handwriting in sort of block capitals, very neat, very precise, it may pick it up, but it may not be that accurate. But generally, we don't advise the text-to-speech devices to be used to read handwriting.
Okay, and Hazel asks about the price. How much is it?
So, compared to some other similar devices, for instance, the Orcam have just released a device which is very similar to this. It's a handheld device which scans the text, which is £1,500, whereas the C-PEN ReaderPen is £240. So it's very reasonable compared to some other devices, and that's one of the reasons why we're so we're really hoping that this we can provide this to many of our customers because of its affordability, its ease of use, and it's very accessible and very quick. So yeah. So it's
okay, and Rebecca is asking that price doesn't include VAT, or doesn't VAT is
that'd be ex VAT,
yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
That'd be ex VAT, which I know many of you.
Okay, so thank you everybody for your questions. I'm conscious there were a lot of questions. I suspect we'll be getting lots more. So let's maybe keep moving on, because I know Sam has more to get through.
Yes.
And then we'll stop again for more questions.
Great, thank you, Stuart. Thanks everyone for your questions so far. Keep them coming. One thing I didn't mention before we looked at the first feature there was actually when you open the box and you turn on the ReaderPen to start with, as with many pieces of technology, you're greeted with a startup wizard, if you like, a setup wizard, if you like, which asks you to set the functionality of some of the features and settings. So basically, some of those which are sort of useful to think about really is the obviously the menu language. It can be set to a number of different languages, European languages. You can also change the voice, and it will also ask you to set the whether you are right-handed or left-handed, and that's fairly important. But a useful point as well is that the ReaderPen can scan from left to right and from right to left. Okay, so it will read the text, very easily, scanning either way along the sentence. But the startup wizard will ask you to set all of these features when you actually start the device for the first time. Great. So we've looked at the text reader. Now let's look at the scan to file feature. Okay, so as I said earlier, this allows you to scan the text. You can then name the text, name the file, by scanning a word on the printed text in front of you. So it's useful for a student, for instance, who may be scanning some text from a workbook. They can actually name the file with the heading of the text from the textbook, and then they can send that file from the ReaderPen over to their computer, and then they can edit it as they wish. So let's look at that feature now. So what I'm going to do is, okay, great, okay. So we're back on the main menu here, and I'm going to scroll down to Scan to File. Great. Now it's asking me a number of things. I'm going to go down to New File. Okay. Great. Now all we need to do is, as we did earlier, is we just scan the text into the ReaderPen. Oh, lost you there for a second. Hang on. There we go. Great. I'm just going to scan this in.
Congratulations to your new ReaderPen. ReaderPen is designed with Reading Assistant.
Great. Now, I've just scanned some of the text in there. Now, the one main difference between the scan to file and the text reader feature is that you can actually delete words in the scan to file. So if you know, if you scan one too many words, or perhaps occasionally the ReaderPen may confuse a letter or confuse a comma, for instance, you can delete the comma or delete the as so. So it's highlighted there, the final word. If I just press OK on that word, it will vanish. Okay, it will get rid of it. That, as I say, it might be useful if you scan one too many words, or you know, an extra comma, for instance. Good. So now all we need to do is, if I press Menu, okay, I can read that again, read that back to me. Again, I can find definitions. Again, I can find other reading settings like the volume and the speed. But now if I just come out of that settings, it takes me back to the text field. And if I come out of that again, okay, well that's automatically saved into the reader there. Okay, it's automatically saved. And that's the top file there. It's saying continue, and it's giving it a file number. Okay, if I want to change the name of the file there, if I go into open file, now that's the most current file there, which is the one I've just used. I can actually scan a word on the page and it will rename it. Okay, so I'm just going to read it. That's just going to rename the file ReaderPen. You may not be able to see that because of the quality of the lighting there. Okay, and then I'm just going to press OK. And then what's that said is, it said the string is too long. So the word was actually too long. Okay, it'll only take 9 characters. Okay, so we're going to try that again. Rename the file, yes or no? Yes. Great. Great. So then it's renamed the file designed. That was just a word that I selected. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to transfer it over to my computer. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this into my computer, and then I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay. And just before I do that, what it's telling me here now is it's giving me 3 options. Do I want to use the C-PEN ReaderPen as a keyboard, the U-Disk, which is the external storage device, or do I want to use it just to charge the C-PEN? But I want to use the U-Disk. Okay, so I'm going to press OK on that. Great. Now I'm just going to share my screen with you guys. Hopefully you're all getting that. Now if I just go into documents, please do say to it if nobody's getting this. Now, in my documents here, you'll see the C-PEN file is visible. If I go down to scan file here, these are the documents that I've saved from my C-PEN. Okay, and this is the one that we've just created. I'm gonna just get rid of this. Great. And what that's done now is it's created it in a text in a text document there, a notepad document, and obviously I can edit as I see fit. It actually scanned in an extra full stop there, so I can just edit the full stop. Everything else looks fairly good. Okay, so I've finished scanning at this point. I can then add text as I need to. I know we've got a few questions coming in, so I'll pause in a second. But just while I'm on this feature, you can scan in voice recordings as well. I don't know if you'll be able to get this audio. I was having a bit of fun with this yesterday. Now, whether you can hear that or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, what I was doing is I was I'm sharing my computer audio. I recorded myself on the ukulele yesterday, so you can also record audio files and you can send those across as well, which is really useful for dictation, audio notes, that sort of thing. So very simple, very straightforward. You can scan your files and you can send them over to your computer. Great. So I'll pause there for a few more questions.
Okay, thanks, Sam. We loved the ukulele, by the way. Great bit of nice, put a bit of music into Webinar Wednesday. We should get you to write a little theme tune for us. Okay, so we've somebody who on chat who says, "May I ask a question?" We'll unmute people in a minute if they want to ask questions. Just we've a couple of queries. Can you charge the pen? That was from Noma. So, and I think Jason already said that's charges by USB. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes. So it will be charging at the moment as it's connected to my laptop. But yeah, you can charge it via USB via your laptop, your computer, or you can obviously plug the USB into an accessible plug as well and charge it that way.
We had a question that asks, how big is the storage?
That is a very good question. And I knew there was going to be a question that I wouldn't be able to answer. So if you just leave that one.
We can leave that. We can come back to that.
Yeah.
Cecilia asked, could it be used when she's out shopping? Maybe she's thinking of, maybe being able to read labels, barcodes, and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. The ReaderPen will read any printed text. So it's not just specific to students or those working. You can use this for bus timetables. You can use this for text in the supermarket. Absolutely. It's fully accessible to all. Okay,
brilliant. Okay, we had a question from Fereshtik, I think, and Fereshtik, you want to ask a question. So if you want to unmute yourself, you can. If you'd like to ask your question, you're more than welcome to do that now.
Great, and just Stuart, just while we're on this subject, I've just discovered that the memory size there. So you've got 8 gig of memory with the ReaderPen. So you've got quite a good amount there, and obviously you can transfer the files over to your computer if it does run out there.
Brilliant. Okay. I'm just trying to find Fereshtik to unmute. So Fereshtik, I've unmuted you if you want to ask your question. Or at least I've tried to. The unmuting is a bit funny on Zoom sometimes. There we go. It's we had problems with this last week as well.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Would you like to ask your question?
Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am using Floris for 1 year. I always love the HIMS product, and it was my dream to get any product of HIMS. But since I got my Polaris, I'm sorry to say I have a lot of problem, and
Okay,
very strange. Nobody can answer before you actually advertise about Polaris. Maybe you need to ask people's feedback. I love my Polaris, but I have, I didn't find anybody to, fix my problems.
Okay, so unfortunately, Freshta, today's session is about the scanning pen, but you're in luck because next week we have another session about Polaris. So by all means, if you put your email address in the chat window for me, I'll make sure that you're invited to the Polaris session, okay?
I will do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And there is a session, as I say, just to manage people, to remind people, there's a session next week. Our next webinar Wednesday session is another session on Polaris, Braille Sense Polaris, and in particular about Android applications. So that might be of interest. Okay, Sam.
Great. I know we've got a few more questions coming in there. I'm just conscious.
Sorry, I wasn't focusing on the chat there for a sec.
No problem. I know we've got a few about the, is it not difficult to keep the pen on track if you cannot see the scan? As I mentioned earlier, obviously, this, it will be tricky for the visually impaired. It will require you to be able to identify the text to a certain degree. But as I say, it may not be useful for those with all eye conditions. But I think generally, for some visual impairments, it will be useful. It's a very, we do have other bigger, bulkier scan to text-to-speech devices. This is a very neat, very compact device, which we think really would be useful to those with a visual impairment.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Sam. We had a question from Rebecca asking, are there discounts available for demo units? And I suppose my suggestion there would be maybe contact us, after the session directly, give us a call,
yeah,
or get in touch with Sam directly.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we can discuss all of that post session. But just briefly, at the moment, obviously, due to the restrictions that everyone's facing, the lockdown, we are offering a 30-day money back guarantee on any of our products. So if you were to buy one and you weren't happy with it after 30 days, you get a full refund. That's just worth bearing in mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. So I am conscious of time as well. I know that we're time's moving on. So I will quickly look at the keyboard feature of the pen, and then we can move on to the Compaq. Is that okay, Stuart?
That's perfect, Sam.
Yep. Great. Perfect. Okay, guys. So I'm going to disconnect. And as I said earlier, the ReaderPen can double up as a keyboard for your computer. So you can connect it to your laptop or your computer, and you can actually scan text, and it will appear in any text field that is on your computer for you. Okay. So if I just reconnect it to my computer, and then again it asks me, do I want to use it as a keyboard? Do I want the external storage device, sorry, or do I want to charge it? Okay, I want the keyboard. Great. And then it says character scanning. So we're ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you again, if Zoom will allow. There we go. Where are we? Okay, let's go with that. Great. Okay, and then we're into a Word document. We should be perfect. So you can see that the text cursor there is flashing. If I just scan the text, I'm gonna just move my camera down, so hopefully you can see that at the same time. Okay, so I'm just gonna. Okay, great. So for those that can see this, okay, it's scanned the text there straight into the Word document. ReaderPen is designed with the purpose of being a reading assistant, and the objective is to make you an independent reader. Now, obviously, if this was paired with a screen reading piece of software, JAWS, for instance, or Zoom Text Magnifier Reader, you obviously would get the audio from your laptop as well. So this could be really useful for not just students, but anybody with a visual impairment as well, for scanning text that you want to edit into a Word document, or for instance, scanning email addresses or phone numbers or anything that you want to get into a text field on your computer. You can use the ReaderPen to do that very, very quickly. As I say, this would be a perfect combination with a screen reader, JAWS or Zoom Text Fusion, for instance, that would allow you to have the audio from the computer at the same time. Perfect. I think I won't pursue that any further because I'm just conscious of time. So if there's any more questions on the ReaderPen before we move forward.
Okay. Anything else that people want to either put in chat, or if you would like to ask a question, will it speak all its menus, all the menus, I presume? I suppose the things like the settings menus in the device, or are there settings menus, Sam? I think that's might be the question.
Yeah, absolutely. So any of the just out of interest, are you getting that audio, Stuart?
A little. It's quite faint, but I can hear it. I can hear it.
Yeah. Fine. So as I said, it's tricky, isn't it, because of the quality of the audio here. But yeah, I can assure you that the ReaderPen is reading aloud all of the settings menus. Okay, it's reading everything aloud for me. So yeah, you get the audio from the menus as well as the applications.
And Cecilia asks, has there been any testing with different visual impairments? I suppose it kind of maybe relates to an earlier question I think somebody might have asked. So around just low vision, and I suppose it depends on the type of vision, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. We would absolutely be open to that actually as well. All of this technology is deserves positive criticism, I suppose is the word, constructive. So yeah, absolutely. I think I don't have any research notes or testing notes with me here, but as I said earlier, we know that this device and devices like this have been tested by those with visual impairments. So we know that it is a potential solution for people with visual impairments, not just learning difficulties. But I'd be very interested to talk to anybody who's got specific eye conditions that we can chat about that in further detail.
Quick message from Cecilia on chat. She asks, can it read text upside down? And she would like to chat with Sam maybe afterwards. So again, Cecilia, you can always get in touch with us, and Sam can chat to you afterwards if you wish.
Absolutely.
Can you hear me? This is Patsy.
Hi, Patsy. We can hear you.
Sorry, I'm late. I couldn't get onto my system. It was just playing up, so I'm afraid I've missed most of the demonstration. So is it possible to just quickly show me what the pen does, or is it too late for that now?
So we can send you a link to the meeting because we really are tight on time. And unfortunately, Sam has another product to show. A really interesting product is about to come up. Yeah. So if you put your email address in the chat window, I will get you a link afterwards that will let you watch the entire session.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Patsy.
And something else I was going to ask you in a minute. Wait, I'm trying to find your chat box. Where is it?
Okay. Well, if you have a question, you can always ask us anyway later on.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Is this the pen a new product?
Is this a new product?
The pen. Is it the software or this is the hardware? What is pen?
Sorry, I think I caught that. So
the software you're talking about, what is that?
Was that JAWS or Zoom Text? Is that right?
Are you asking about the software that we're talking about with the pen, Farishta? Are you asking about the actual software itself?
Yeah, no, because I typed few questions and I didn't get response. My first question is, you know, because we are talking about the scanning, about the Polaris itself. Am I correct?
No, we're not talking about Polaris today. This is a different
No,
session.
No, about the how to scan with the Polaris.
No.
No, this is a different product. So the Polaris is next week, okay?
Yeah, but you say about the product called Pen. Am I correct?
Yes, that's scanning for people with low vision or with reading difficulties.
Is it fully access?
You mean for totally blind people?
Yes.
I think it would be extremely difficult. I think I'm blind myself, and I would not think I would be capable of using one.
Oh, right.
Maybe somebody might strongly disagree if they've used one, but it's not really designed as a product like that.
Is this a new product?
It's been around for a while, but fresh. I'm sorry, I have to cut the questions short because we have to move on to the next session.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. So we're going to now move on to the Compaq 10 with Sam.
Great. Thanks, Stuart. Thanks, everyone. I am conscious of time, so we will have a whistle-stop tour of the Compaq 10. So I'm going to start by showing you it in this position, and then I'm going to. I've got a homemade demonstration table behind me, which for those of you might be able to see. Great. So this is the Compaq 10. Okay. Now, a second. Getting a lot of glare from the sun there. Okay, good. So this is the Compaq 10 HD with speech by Optilec. Okay. Now, as I said, the Compaq 10 can come with speech or without. So you can have it just as a magnifier, or you can have it with, as I said, the magnifier and the reader option. Okay. And there is a little, there's a baby brother or a baby sister version called the Compaq 6, which has exactly the same features, more or less, but obviously just in a slightly smaller size, a 6-inch screen, whereas obviously the Compaq 10 has a 10-inch screen. Okay. Now, we're going to look at a few features with the Compaq 10. I'm just conscious of the lighting. So just bear with me 1 second. I'm getting a lot of glare. But anyway, we'll survive. Good. Okay. So this. Let me just come out of here. Okay. I'm going to do this. Okay, perfect. Okay, good. So, this is the basic sort of interface of the Compaq 10. Okay, there's only one physical button on the Compaq 10, and this is the orange button on the side here. This is the power button. We've got a headphone jack there, and we've got a USB-C charging port there. That's obviously for charging, and also for exporting documents to a computer or a laptop there. Okay, so there's just one physical button. The rest of the interface is all touchscreen. Okay, now I know some people that may put some people off, or some people think that's great. It's very much sort of personal choice, but it's a very intuitive, very contemporary design. You've got the user interface along the bottom of the screen there. Now we're going to run through the basic features. Okay, now let me just find my notes for a second. Now you have two modes with the Compaq 10. Okay, now what we have to begin with is we have easy mode. Okay, now basically you have easy and advanced. Now with easy and advanced, basically all that means is it has a few less features with easy mode, basically. So if I just change back to easy mode, I'm going to hold my finger on this. Now you can see that on the screen there. I'm going to click easy mode. Okay, great. Now this will now show me the user interface for easy mode. Okay, so we've got the four buttons along the bottom of the screen there. Okay. Okay, great. So we've got increased magnification, we've got decreased magnification, we've got the capture button, which will allow you to actually scan the text and to have it read aloud to you. And then we have the contrast button. Okay. Now you can change this to a number of colors or contrasts. Obviously, depending on your eye condition, it's very much personal to your eye condition. Okay, there's not one that's specific to any condition really. If I just pop this on high contrast white, that might be more helpful. There we go. Great. So this is easy mode. Okay, very straightforward. Very few buttons on the interface there. Now, if I just hold that down again and change it to advanced, okay, we get a few more buttons on the screen there, okay, which are given to us, okay. So we've got a few additions. We've got this button at the top here, which leads us to a settings menu, okay. We've got the clock button, which is at the top here, okay, which I'll just hit there. There we go, and it gives us the time and it gives us the date, okay. And then also we've got one more button, which, okay, we're getting a lot of glare there, sorry. We're getting the still image button, okay, which is this one here, okay. So if I hit that button and I can capture text just as a still image, I can then save the document into the internal memory, okay. And then the other buttons, which we've already looked at, which are on the screen. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to change camera, and hopefully I can demonstrate this to you a bit more clearly, okay. Just bear with me a second. Now, Zoom hopefully is going to play nicely. There we go. Okay. Great. Perfect. Okay. So, great. Okay, guys. Now, just shout if none of this is legible. If you can't hear me or you can't see any of the features there. What I want to try and do is try and get some of the text in the screen there. There we go. Okay. Now what we can do is we can actually zoom in even further there on the screen. Okay. I'm aware that I'm quite far away from the camera here, so it may not be beneficial. What you can do is, if I just hold this up actually, there we go. That's still not very clear, is it? So if I just hold that, there we go, that might be better. Okay. Just to give you an idea of the magnification quality. There we are. Okay, good. And then we can obviously change the colours there, just depending on your eye condition. And as I said earlier, you can hit this button, which will capture the image. So obviously, it's probably not the most useful text there. If that was a document, a bill, a utility bill, a letter from the doctors, whatever it may be, you can then go into this button. You can save it into your internal memory, which is useful. Now these are the magnification features. Okay, this is if you were just using the Compaq 10 as a magnifier. These are the main features that you'd use. Okay, you've obviously got your magnification, you've got your contrast, and you can save documents into the internal memory. Now, let me just come out of that. If you did want to scan text and use the speech option, now you have a couple of different options now. Okay, now let me just get rid of this. Okay, now you can scan the text using this button in the middle here. And this would obviously scan whatever text was on the was on the page. Let me just zoom out. Okay. So I'm just going to scan this text and have it hopefully read aloud for us. Now, if you can see this, but the Compaq 10, there's a moving bar across the top of the screen. That just tells us it's
By Georgia Bank staff reporter Georgia.Banks@nne.countyuk. Jack was very adventurous. He started doing sports with me when he was just 6 years old, and from there we toured national championships. He would want us all to go on seeking out adventures, enjoying Mother Nature.
Now, I'm just going to slow down the rate of the speech there, just so we're not losing any of the...
And her gifts, doing what you love and nourishing your soul. He said hundreds of people and a court-aged 30 camp urbans attended him.
There we go, perfect. So that's a good opening demonstration of the text-to-speech there. So it's captured the text on the page there. Okay, what I can now do is I can increase the volume, I can increase or decrease the speed of the reading. I can change the magnification still, so I can zoom in even further on the text if need be, and I can follow along as it's reading to me if I wanted to. Or, if I don't want it read to me, I can scroll up and down the page and I can try and read it myself. Okay, a really useful, quick tool for this feature actually is if you do want to locate somewhere on the page that you know where you'd like to start reading from, all you'd have to do is just find that word, hold your finger on the word.
Adventurous. He started doing sports with me when he was just 6 years old, and from there we toured nation.
And it'll start reading from specifically where you've held your finger on the page. Okay, so it is very intuitive. It does have the pinch feature or what's the word that we use from tablets. You can pinch and zoom at the same time as well. So it does have that command as well. Or you can just scroll up and down the page and use the zoom in, zoom out features as you see fit. Okay. Should we pause, Stuart, and just answer any questions at this stage?
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. So just a couple of questions came in on chat. One was somebody asked, could a person with vision impairment set this up out of the box? And I'm assuming the answer is yes. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, the actual design and what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the case which it comes in. The actual setup of the product is very, very straightforward. So it's ready to go out of the box, essentially. There doesn't require any, registrations or any settings really to be adjusted. You can customize the settings once you've got the product up and running. We're going to look at the settings in a little bit more detail in a second. But the actual, basics of the product, it's ready to go straight out of the box, and it comes in this really neat little leather case as well. So if you are taking it out and about, it's very safe, very compact. You can take it, anywhere you like, really. To the shops, on holiday, to a relatives, wherever you need to go. It's very compact, a very neat, portable little device.
Okay, and we've got a question on the price, Sam, for the Compaq 6 and the Compaq 10.
Okay, good. Yeah, so the Compaq 10, the price, there's two versions to the Compaq 10. You've got with speech or without. Okay, so just the magnifier alone, that starts at $995 ex VAT. Okay, and then with speech, if you wanted the text-to-speech version, that would be $1495 ex VAT. Okay, now with the Compaq 6, Stuart, can we just come back to that in a few minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to misquote anybody on the price, so I'll pop that in the text chat in a second.
No problem. Two questions about scanning, which one from Maureen in relation to what area does the camera cover? So is it an A4 piece? Could it read, for example, newspaper? And David is asking you, does it let you know when the text is upside down or out of focus? And also, could it read handwriting? So a couple of general questions there around scanning.
Yeah, good, and all really useful questions as well. So again, with handwriting, it unfortunately won't pick up handwriting at this stage. That is a question we get asked all the time, and I'm sure, you know, in the very near future will be cured, will be addressed. But for the time being, no handwriting, sadly. It won't give you specific instructions to say that the text is upside down, but the text wouldn't be legible. It wouldn't be read. It would be very confused and jumbled. So that would give you a good idea that the text is upside down. And to answer your other question about the field of view, so we're going to move on now in a second to the second camera, or the third camera actually. There are 3 different views with the Compaq 10. Okay, you've got the page view, or the full page view, if you like. So that will read anything with an A4 field. Okay, you've got the overview mode. Okay, so if you wanted to use this, take this out and use this at the shops, or to look at a bus timetable, for instance. If I just come out of this, okay, it's now gone into overview mode. Okay, so what I can do now is I can actually hold this up to any text, and I can use it essentially like a tablet, like you would with an iPad, or you can hold this up and you can magnify. So that will be the overview mode. The A4 mode, which we're going to cover in a second, this requires another camera, okay, which is this camera arm just here. Okay, now how this works is, I'm going to move on to this in a second, but this will pick up anything within an A4 field of view. Okay, you just have to line it up underneath the camera and it will scan the text. And then obviously with the foldable legs that are on the back of the unit here, you can use it to scan anything that is covered on the actual screen there. Okay, so the camera, there's 3 cameras basically. There's an overview camera, which you can use. You can hold the camera up and it will pick up text at distance. There's the full page camera, which is this one. Okay, or there is the third camera, which will just pick up whatever is underneath the camera at the back of the unit there. Okay, so you've got three choices really in terms of how much text you want to pick up. Okay, Stuart.
Okay, yeah, I think we're good to continue, Sam. No further questions since.
Great. That. Okay, guys. So I do apologise if this is a little bit, a little bit of a sort of a whistle stop tour. I'm just conscious of time, and I don't want to keep anybody longer than they can. Good. So what we've looked at the basic interface of the Compaq 10. I've just touched on the foldable legs actually, which is another useful point. The legs at the back there do fold in. Okay, so you can use this as a handheld tablet magnifier essentially. Okay, so if I just come and sit back down here, okay, for instance, okay. If you can see the sight and sound there on the, so you can hold this as a handheld device, and you can zoom in using the features there. You can obviously change the colours as well. That's yellow and black at the moment, black and white. So you can use it handheld for finding text that's possibly further away at distance. But if you want to use it obviously to read, newspapers, letters, anything from a stationary position, you just fold out the foldable legs there and you just pop it on the table, and then you can use the magnifier features and the capture feature there as well to capture whatever text is within the 10-inch screen. Okay, good. So now we're going to quickly look at the full page view, and also the other feature, which
I always forget is that, sorry, the viewing and the signing feature as well, which is really useful for those if you want to sign your signature, and but at the moment, if you're with a visual impairment, you're unable to do that. The camera arm gives you the space and the dexterity to be able to sign underneath the camera arm. Okay, so we're just going to look at that briefly. Okay, so I just grab a pen here. Okay, so just going to close that back up. Okay, and then open that again. Now you'll see on the screen there, it just said full page. Okay, so we're now at full page view. Okay, so now this camera here, okay, is displaying. You'll see my hand just on the screen there. It's displaying my hand. Okay, now the reason why they designed this is because many of the older products, OCR products, you weren't able to fit any objects behind the camera, like tins of soup, for instance, or medication bottles, that sort of thing. So they've designed this really sort of ergonomic arm there, which allows you.
Sorry, I just need to turn this webinar off. I don't know how to do it. Shut up, webinar man. No. Let me just.
If you just close the app on your device, you'll be able to sign out.
Okay. So now, in order to use the arm here as a to capture text and read that aloud, what Optelec have done is, now you won't be able to see this because of the distance I am away from the camera, but there's a blue sort of piece of plastic on the leg here, which the reason why that's placed there, that gives you an idea of where you need to line up the text. So the bottom left hand corner of the text is lined up with this blue marker on the leg there. Okay, and now what that will do is, obviously we're at distance here, but that's now displaying on the screen the full A4 page in view. Okay, now all I need to do in order to capture that, I press the screen to bring up the user interface on the bottom there. I press the capture button. Now we've got the processing bar across the top of the page there again. So it's just loading.
Sight and sound technology are celebrating 40 years of supporting independence and inclusion for people who aren't kind or part-X TC. To help us celebrate, we have 4 great offers on our Papaxer.ru registered sign range of handheld video magnifiers.
Perfect. Okay, so it's picked up the full page of A4 there. Now, if I just scroll down to the bottom, okay, I can assure you that it's actually picked up everything on the page, including the telephone number, our email address, which is right at the bottom of the page there. And obviously, there's images on this page as well, which obviously it won't pick up. It's just picking up the text. Okay, and what it's also done, which is really useful, is actually recognised the format of the page. So we've got bullet points here. We've got headings and bullet points, and it's actually registered the bullet points, which you may or may not be able to see on the screen as well. Okay, so it's formatted the text really easily. And then again, we can do everything else that we could do in the magnifier mode. Change the contrast. You can zoom in even further, so you can get much more text on the page. You can actually close this now because we've already scanned the text, and it will remain on the page. Okay, and you can find wherever you need to find on the page, as I said, and you can start reading from that point. Okay, but this arm is really, really useful. Okay, because many of these compact devices, okay, they can't read a full A4 page of text, whereas this can. Okay, it's really useful. And as I said, the arm's not just used for capturing A4 pages of text as well. It's also used if I had a checkbook under here, for instance, or a letter that I needed to sign, an official document. I could place the text
underneath it, I can obviously find, I don't even see my arm on there. What's really useful is there's a little pencil icon at the top right of the monitor there. If I just hit that, what that's done now is it's locked the focus of the camera. Okay, so the camera will allow me to be able, if obviously I'm doing this from the reverse, I'm doing this from behind, but if I was looking at the camera, it would have locked the focus, so it wouldn't be blurring as I'm trying to write. It would have locked the focus, so there'll be no distortion or no blurring of the image at all. And that's obviously really useful, you know, if you are, you know, writing or signing a document. But you just want to make sure that auto, the locking of the focus there is on. Okay. Great. So that's the use of the foldable arm there. It just swings in and out very, very easily and clicks back in. Okay. And then we're back to the magnifier mode. Okay. So you've got full page, you've got the magnifier, and then you've got the overview. Okay, which is, as I said earlier, that's if you close the legs and you can hold the camera up and use it to look at text from distance. Okay. Now, let me come back to my desk and we can have a look at the settings together. I'm going to change my camera again. Perfect. Okay. Good. Great. Now we're going to move on to look at the settings now. Okay, everyone. So there's a few other little bits and pieces to show you, which would be useful. If I just hit that button there, that's now taking me into a settings menu. Okay, so we've got a few different options on the page. So this one will change the brightness of the screen. This open panel here, that will take me into the internal storage. So I can open documents that I've saved previously. This will allow me to change the voice. There's a number of voices, languages, all European languages are covered. There's also Chinese, Mandarin, Russian, I believe. There's a whole range of languages that you can choose from, and accents as well. This is a useful little feature. This is a reading line. So if I press on the reading line there, that will actually bring up a line on the page, which would allow me to follow the text much more easily. Okay. So, and within the settings as well, you can actually move that reading line around the page. You can have it in the center, which it is now. You can have it at the top, at the bottom of the page. But that's really useful. So you can keep your place if you're reading a long passage of text, like a newspaper, you know, or a newspaper article or a magazine, that sort of thing. So that's the reading line. This is obviously giving me the battery status. Okay, but if I hit this one at the bottom, that will take me into the sort of advanced settings, if you like. And then we've got a whole range of different things. I won't touch on all of them because, again, I'm conscious of time. But a few useful points. Okay, now we've got the Bluetooth option here. Okay, now for those that use hearing aids, Bluetooth compatible hearing aids, you can connect this via Bluetooth to your hearing aids. Okay, you can connect it to Bluetooth headphones, Bluetooth speakers, you know, which can be really, really useful. Gives you that extra sound. The sound quality alone is very, very good. It's very, you do get a lot of audio output on this. But as I say, if you want it to be discreet, if you're in public, on the bus, you know, at the airport, for instance, and you wanted that extra discretion, you could use the Bluetooth to connect it to Bluetooth headphones, or you can connect it to wired headphones as well. Okay, so we've got Bluetooth. You can change the contrasts as we discussed earlier. I believe there's up to 15 different colors that you can choose. This is useful. You can also choose how the text is formatted on the Compaq 10. So you can have it formatted vertically, as it is now. You can have it in sort of a real-time view, if you like. So this is an example of a newspaper article, and it's sort of in real time.
and that's how you will see it on the screen. Or you can have it as a horizontal line of text, which will move as the text is read to you. Okay, and you can change the highlight box. You can have a single line or a box as well. So that's quite useful. Now, Miracast. This is really useful as well. This will allow you to actually cast all of the content from the Compaq 10 onto a smart television. So many TVs now are smart TVs and have this feature. So if you wanted extra monitor size and you wanted sort of extra magnification, you could actually cast this. So if you scanned a piece of text, you can then cast it onto a smart television via the Miracast feature. If I just click on that, it may pick up my TV downstairs. It should say Sam's TV. It may not. But anyway, I could cast this to my 50-inch widescreen television downstairs if I wanted to. So that can be useful if you wanted that extra magnification. Great. We've looked at the reading line. You can change the buttons. Now this is really useful actually. If you move the interface is usually on the bottom of the screen. But if you moved it to the side, let me just come out of this. And we're using it in overview mode as we are now. Okay. You can actually use it with both hands without worrying. You can actually use it just as almost like a joystick to a games console. Okay, so you can zoom in, you can change the contrast there, you can zoom out, you can press the capture button to capture the speech, which is just here. But obviously, if the buttons or the interface were on the bottom of the screen, you'd have to remove a hand to then touch the buttons. Okay, but you can actually use buttons with your thumbs there, with the interface on the side of the screen, which is quite useful. So great, we've looked at the buttons. Theme is really useful. If your eye condition, if it causes you to have real sensitivity to bright light, you can change the theme of the contrast. So we can change it to dark. Okay, so this will be really useful for those with conditions that that do cause sensitivity to bright light, like nystagmus. I know is quite a common condition which people struggle with light sensitivity. So you can change the overall view of now all of the buttons there are much darker. Okay, so we'll put that back to light because it's just more helpful for the demonstration. This one's really useful for those that are reading newspapers, magazine articles, that sort of thing. I would recommend that you always keep the read full columns only feature turned on, because otherwise, if you are scanning a newspaper column and the camera does pick up the edge of the column to the right there or to the left, the Compaq 10 will read it. Okay, but if you keep the read full columns only feature on, it will only read, as it says, full columns. Okay, so that's really useful. I can't see any reason why you'd have the read incomplete columns turned on, but anyway, there it is. Great. And then I think the only other really useful thing to mention is the lights there. So I've talked briefly about the 3 different viewing modes that we've got. Okay, we've got the full page, which is using the camera arm. We've got the overview, which is the handheld distance viewing mode. And then you've got the magnifier, which is the stationary with the foldable legs extended. And each one of those cameras has a light attached to it. So you could use this Compaq 10 in a completely darkened room, pitch black, and you could use it independently because each one of these cameras has a light attached to them. But you can turn the lights off if needed. Now that would only really be necessary if you were scanning a quality of paper that was really glossy, for instance. Glossy paper is really difficult for text-to-speech devices because obviously the brightness of the light on the camera hits the glossy paper. It then bounces straight back into the camera, and it can cause difficulty with the capturing of the OCR. So you may want to turn those lights off if you're scanning a glossy magazine or maybe a piece of laminated text, that sort of thing. Otherwise, you may as well keep them on. That shouldn't be a problem. Perfect. Now I'm going to come out of there. Nope. Let me out. Great. Yeah, we've got the standby mode at the bottom there. Obviously, you can adjust the standby mode 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes just to save the battery. If you weren't using it for a period of time, it would go to sleep in order to conserve battery. You will get 4 hours continuous use out of this. It doesn't take long at all to charge up. But yeah, as I say, you get 4 hours continuous use. Very portable, very accessible, and the sort of the tagline, if you like, that I know that Optilec and ourselves use is that you're getting all of the functionality of a desktop magnifier in a very neat and portable solution. Okay, so you're getting full HD magnification, but you're also getting a really powerful, accurate and detailed OCR reader. Okay, so it's the OCR, the optical character recognition of this product is very, very accurate. But it's very portable at the same time. So I think it's a very unique product, and it's a very, very popular product already. It's not been around for long, but it's very popular, and its little baby brother or sister, the Compaq 6, is also very popular as well. And that's sort of pocket sized, handbag sized, and you can take it anywhere as well. So both worth thinking about. And now we'll open up for questions. I'm sure there will be a few. Great, thank you.
Yeah, we have some questions and a great presentation, Sam, and it's a great device. I know a lot of people with low vision have kind of said to me, this is an incredible piece of tech. So great demo. So a couple of queries that came in chat. Do the on-screen icons speak when you touch them? Actually, I was kind of curious about that too. So I suppose, is there any voice assisted speech feedback when you're navigating the device?
Good question. The answer is no. There isn't a screen reader, if you like, but what Optilec have done is, which is really useful, they've actually added behind the each sort of button, if you like, there's vibrating pads. Okay, so each time that you you touch a button, the screen will actually vibrate. Okay, so you know that you've operated something. So that's really useful. That does help. But sadly, no, there isn't a screen reader.
Okay. Do letters bleed into the background on higher magnification? Is there any fear that that might happen? You haven't noticed it, or it hasn't?
No, I mean, I've certainly not. I know that can be a concern, but no, I mean, the quality of the image and the quality of the cameras. There is 3 different cameras, as I said. They don't tend to allow text to bleed at all. I've certainly not experienced that, and I don't think I've had any feedback. So,
okay. Monique from Dublin, a regular Webinar Wednesday attendee, good friend of Sight and Sound, asks, how heavy is it and how much memory does it have?
Again, more good technical questions. I've got the specifications here actually. So it's just over 2 pounds in weight. It's actually 915 grams, which I can hold it, with a pinch. Obviously, for maybe more elderly users, it will be a little bit tricky. But in terms of its memory, sorry, should I say? Again, I don't want to misquote anybody with the memory there, so I'll leave that in the comments box just before we finish. That's okay.
Okay, brilliant. So just watch the chat there, and we'll populate those with some info. Can it scan and read text on a curved surface? This was the reference you made, Sam, to the tin of beans. How does it do for something like that, I suppose?
Yeah, again, so that would have been useful for me to demonstrate that, a curved object like a tin of beans. But that is precisely why they have designed the full page camera. okay? Because 3D objects, like a tin of beans, like a medication bottle, for instance, that is why they've designed this camera arm, in order for the user to be able to scan a curved object, a 3D object. So I can assure you that it is tried and it is tested. It will scan packaging, beans, soup, you know, cooking sauces, medication bottles, all that sort of thing. That's precisely why they designed this camera, is for that reason. So it's brilliant. It's a really ingenious way of getting over that problem. Because prior to that, all of these devices, you know, you had to try and get the object behind the camera here, which is always behind the object, and it was difficult to scan. So it's yeah, it's a very, very good way of overcoming that.
Okay, really good question from Maureen, which actually kind of got me thinking as well. If text is in more than one columns, more than one column, will it read all of column 1 first and then column 2, etc., or how does it cope with column reading?
Good. Yeah. So yeah, we looked at the feature for reading complete columns. So if, for instance, there was a newspaper article, which is always a good example, the Compaq 10 is very, very good at recognizing the format and the layout of the text on the page. Okay, so it wouldn't read from left to right all the way along the first line of the first column and then the first line of the second column. It would read down the first column, and it would go up to the top, and it would read down the second column. Okay, so it's very, very good at identifying the format and the layout of the text.
Okay. Somebody says, what is the advantage over the Ruby?
Great question. So the Ruby is also a brilliant handheld digital magnifier. However, the Ruby, you know, has its limitations. So the Ruby doesn't have any speech capabilities. The Ruby magnifiers are purely a magnification device, and the maximum screen size you can get with a Ruby is a 7-inch Ruby 7, which, you know, you can fit a fair bit of text on the screen there, but this is obviously a slightly larger screen, and also the quality of the magnification and the speech option as well is you know, sets it apart really. But the Rubies are a fantastic solution as well for basic magnification. You know, they're really useful.
At what distance, Sam, can it pick up text?
Yeah, another good question. So I've tried and tested it from, I'd say, around a couple of meters. I wouldn't want to say anything beyond that. That's, you know, in terms of scanning the text, you're not going to get anything, I'd probably say anything further away than a meter. But in terms of actual magnification, you know, you know, you can, in the overview mode there, if I just, obviously I'm in a tiny office here, so it's not ideal to demonstrate. But if I just allow it to focus a little bit. I don't know if you can see that on the camera there, but I'm highlighting Edinburgh on the map behind me. I mean, but obviously that again is only a meter away. But I'm zooming in very, very clearly on Edinburgh on the very populated map behind me. So you know, the quality of the magnification at distance is still very good. But as I say, anything more than a couple of meters, it may become distorted.
Okay, we have a question from Patsy who was asking, can you store chapters of a book, and I suppose how many chapters? And that probably relates to the question on memory that we're going to put some info in the window about that. So
yeah, I'll definitely I'll add these specs for the specific memory size there. But in terms of storing books, that's absolutely possible. You know, you can scan in continuous pages and store them as a complete file.
And a question about the Compaq 6, Sam. Does the Compaq 6 also have the arm?
No. So good question. Now, just bear with me a second. I've actually got it with me. The Compaq 6, for those that can see me here, it's a very neat little sibling. It's also got the foldable stand at the back there. Okay, so it works in very much the same way. It just doesn't have the extendable folding arm feature. Okay, but this is really used mainly for hovering over the text. Great for taking to the supermarket, scanning shelves, scanning products, scanning bus timetables, that sort of thing. It's very neat. Comes in this really compact case. You can fit in your handbag and your coat pocket easily. But yeah, for the more heavy-duty magnification, we'd recommend the Compaq 10 for sure.
And we have a question here. Is there pay by installment plans available? And again, if you get in touch with us, we can chat about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we offer an installment plan, 3, 6, 9, or 12 months. You can spread the cost, interest free.
And I, you know, I suppose it's a really good time just to remind people again about the offers we have at the moment. If you want to take something and try it for 30 days, if you find it doesn't work for you, then you know you can always get back in touch with us. But it's a great opportunity, especially at the time when we can't get out to see people with technology.
Absolutely. And also, Stuart, just while we're on that point, I see somebody just mentioned the Ruby magnifiers. So obviously the Compaq 10 and the Compaq 6 are fantastic, but I appreciate the cost. You know, it's expensive. We do have the Ruby range as well, though, and we are running offers at the moment on our Ruby range. They're heavily discounted, and there's some information here on the Ruby handheld magnifiers. And if anybody wants more information about the Ruby handheld magnifiers, then please do get in touch, and I can send over the relevant information.
Yeah, get in touch with us at any time. Quick question from Patsy. Is it possible to upload scanned material to a computer from the Compaq 10?
Absolutely, yes. So any material that you've saved into the internal memory, you can then transfer over to a computer. Yeah, and do as you wish.
Okay, there's no further questions on chat. Sam, thank you so much. That was a mammoth presentation, and I know you covered a huge amount. You need a big, huge mug of coffee after that, I think. So thanks a million. Thank you to everybody for joining our webinar Wednesday. Remember, we're back next week at 2 p.m. To talk about the Polaris and Android apps. So if you want to know about Android apps, we'll be sending emails about that tomorrow, and you'll be able to register for that event. So for the moment, from Sam and Stuart, thanks a million for joining us again.
Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you.